Your favorite biscuit has been shrinking in your hand for 30 years, slowly, gram by gram, and you have been thanking them for it. Because in the same 30 years, your rent tripled, your school fees tripled, petrol went up nearly 5 times, the price of Parle-G packet went up by exactly 1 rupee, from 4 rupees to 5 rupees. 1 rupee in 3 decades. Just think how insane that is. That is not an accident. It's the most brilliant business decisions this country has ever made. A company that found a way to keep a promise to the poorest people in India while cost of everything around them quietly exploded. 3 things you're about to see. How a packet that should not exist anymore became the best-selling biscuit on earth. How a tragedy you lived through accidentally saved 10,000 jobs, and by the exact same trick this biscuit pulled on inflation is being pulled on your salary right now and nobody's told you. Come find out. Go back with me for a minute. Picture 2 packets. One your grandfather bought in 90s. One on a tea stall counter today. Same yellow wrapper. Same little girl on the front, smiling the way she smiled since before you were born. Hand over a coin and walk away with biscuits. Almost nothing has changed, except the price went up from 4 rupees to 5 rupees. 1 rupee added in 2021 after 27 straight years frozen at 4 rupees. And the packet your grandfather bought weighed almost 100 grams. The one today closer to 55 grams. Hold on to that number. It's going to change how you see this entire brand and understand what that promise actually is. Parle-G has fed this country longer than most of its citizens have been alive. It launched in 1939 as Parle Glucose. The G literally stood for glucose, cheap energy for a nation that could not afford much. That smiling little girl, by the way, isn't from 1939. She is an illustration an artist drew in 1960s, not a real person. Through the war, through partition, through every lean decade, it stayed the cheapest reliable calorie on the shelf. Because here's what it's actually for. Not the office worker, not the private school kid, not you watching this. The real Parle-G customer is a laborer earning 300 rupees a day. The auto driver between fares. The migrant worker on a bus to Mumbai. For them, a 5 rupees biscuit is not a snack. It's sometimes lunch. Sometimes the only thing a father can put in his child's mouth before the day ends. Which gives Parle a problem no one else in this country has. They cannot raise the prices. The day a small packet becomes 6 rupees, the laborer puts it back on the counter and something deeper breaks. The 5 rupee biscuit was one of the few stable things in a chaotic life. The day it stops being 5 rupee, it stops being Parle-G. So the company is trapped. Costs climb every year. The price cannot move. Every law of business, this product should not exist anymore. And yet it does. How? Between 1994 and 2024, wheat tripled, sugar doubled, edible oil more than doubled. Diesel went from around 7 rupees a litre to nearly 90 rupees, more than 10 times over. Wages have tripled. Everything that goes into making and moving a biscuit climbed, while the price you paid for it stood perfectly still. Some years, the margin on that 5 rupee packet was less than 10 paisa, less than 2%. And in 2019, it nearly snapped. That year, Parle's leadership publicly warned they might have to lay off close to 10,000 workers. Rural demand was falling, economy was slowing down. The brand that survived a world war, a partition, multiple recessions, and demonetization was finally quietly about to crack. And then something nobody could have predicted happened. But before I tell you what saved them, you need to see what they had been doing in the dark for the entire time. But before I tell you what saved them, turn a Parle-G packet over. Bottom of the bag, small print, the net weight. Today it's about 55 grams. In 1944, that same packet was 100 grams, almost double. It did not drop overnight. 100 grams, then 92.5 grams, then 88 grams, then 80 grams, then 65 grams, then 55 grams. The biscuit in your hand is 45% smaller than the one your father bought for almost the same coin. And here's the part I find genuinely beautiful. Most of you have bought these your whole life and never noticed because it never happened in one moment. 2 grams here, 3 grams there, spread across multiple years. Your brain compared today's packet to yesterday's. It was identical. It never compared today's with the ones in 2003. Economists have a word for it. It's called shrinkflation. And Parle-G is one of the most disciplined practitioners of it on earth. And the whole trick fits in one sentence. Hold it in your head. They don't change the price. They change the product. Now, the easy reaction is to call this a scam. It is not. Consider the alternative. Raise the price to 6 rupees. That 1 rupee on the cheapest biscuit biscuit in India prices it out of millions of homes overnight. The laborer cannot buy it. The migrant skips lunch instead. By shrinking the product instead of the price, Parle-G stayed exactly where it belongs. In the laborer's pocket, on the train platform, in the tea stall. The promise held. It isn't a company that cheated its customer. It's a company that protected the one thing about itself that actually mattered. And then March 2020 happened. The country shut overnight. Sites were closed, factories were closed, and millions of migrant workers were stranded. No income, no transport, no way home. So they walked Mumbai to UP, Delhi to Bihar, hundreds, sometimes thousands of kilometers on foot in summer heat. And the photographs from that time, the ones burnt into the country's memory, almost all share one thing: a 5 rupee Parle-G packet in the child's hand, in a woman's bag, shared on the highway dividers, eaten with water because there was nothing else. For a man walking home with no job, that packet wasn't a biscuit. It was glucose, sustenance, the cheapest calorie he could find on his way out of a collapsing city. And inside Parle's books, something nobody expected. Sales hit a record, the best year in the brand's 8-decade history. The company's overall market share jumped about 5 percentage points, a level of growth it had not seen in 30 to 40 years, and 80 to 90% of it came from the one small packet. The company that talked about layoffs in 2019 could not make enough to meet the demands in 2020. Why? Because every gram they had quietly shaved for 25 years, every refusal to raise the price had kept Parle-G in exactly the places it needed to be when the worst happened. In the hand of the man on the highway. That's not a trick. That's the closest thing to corporate grace you'll see in this country. And it's worth sitting with for a moment. Here's the question that should be bothering you. If the margin is less than 10 paisa a packet, how is Parle-G one of the most valuable food brands in this country? The answer is reach. Parle-G is not in a few thousand shops. It's in roughly 6 million retail outlets across India. More points of sale than almost any other product you can name. The Kirana store, the railway platform, the highway dhabas, the village shop 3 hours from the nearest town. There is no human being within a walking distance of a shop in this country who can't buy a packet of Parle-G in the next 60 seconds. And here's the thing, that reach is the real moat. A competitor can copy the recipe. They can't copy 30 years of getting one yellow packet in every shop in the country. And on a product that makes 10 paisa, volume is the entire game. 10 paisa on 100 packets is nothing. 10 paisa on billions of packets a year is an empire. And here's the math nobody runs. In 1994, 4 rupee was for 100 grams, 4 paisa a gram. Today, 5 rupee is for 55 grams, about 9 paisa a gram. On the label, the price went up by 1 rupee only. Per gram, it's more than doubled. The real price hike was always there. You just never weighed it. You might think any company could do this. Just shrink it, freeze the price. It's not that simple. 3 things have to be true at once. 1. The price has to live in a number people have memorized. 5 rupee is a magic in this country. So is 10 rupee. The customer does not calculate, does not compare. They just hand over the coin. The moment the price moves, the spell breaks. 2. The brand has to be old and trusted enough that people buy on memory, not judgment. Nobody checks the gram count on a Parle-G against 3 other rivals. They just grab it. That trust is the room to move the weight quietly. 3. And almost nobody else can copy this. The brand has to actually care about staying affordable for the bottom of the pyramid. Parle could have abandoned the 5 rupee packet and made more premium biscuits. Staying cheap was a choice. The kind that takes decades of discipline to keep making. And it's why Parle-G is still the largest selling biscuit brands in the world by volume. Not the most premium, not the most innovative, because it kept its promise to the people who could not afford anything else. Next time you hold a 5 rupee packet, look a second longer. The weight on the back, the girl on the front, the woman on the highway, your grandfather who paid 4 rupees for a packet almost twice the size. Then pull out your own salary slip, because here's why this matters to you. The number at the bottom probably hasn't moved much in the last 2 years. But check what it actually buys now versus when you negotiated it. The rent it covers, the grocery it stretches, the savings it leaves. Inflation has been quietly shrinking your salary and nobody told you. Same number on paper, half the biscuit. And it's not your salary. Walk down any aisle and weigh it. The chips packet that's mostly air. The chocolate bar that lost a few grams. The soap that got thinner, the family pack that quietly shed 50 ml. Every one of them learned the lesson that Parle-G mastered. When you can't move the price, move everything else. Parle-G figured out the cleverest way to survive inflation. Freeze the number, quietly change everything around it. Most companies are doing exactly that to you right now. The question is whether anyone's doing it for you, the way Parle-G did it for the woman on the hive. This channel takes the ordinary things you stop noticing, a biscuit, a price tag, a salary slip, and opens them up so you can see how money really moves. If this changed how you see one everyday thing, subscribe. The next one does it to something else you thought you understood. See you in the next one.